Welcome, welcome. Good morning. This is Takeover Tuesdays. I'm your host, Jessica Springs. Hope your morning is off to a wonderful start. I know mine is. I'm always excited on Takeover Tuesdays because this is the day where we get to meet or be reintroduced or share about small business owners. So today I have a special guest. As always, all my guests are special, and I really mean that every week because everybody brings something so new and amazing to the table. Before I bring in that guest, though, if this is your first time watching the show, I want to take a minute just to share with you about why we do this show every week. So this show was started because I feel like it's important to bring our community together and share small business owners' story, let you know how they got to where they are. And I think the journey is really important because many times we see the outcome of the small business, but we don't know how they got there. So this is a platform for small business owners to share who they are, their trials and tribulations, and just connect community. So hopefully when you watch this show, you become inspired or take something away from it and support our small businesses with their service and products. So without further ado, I want to bring in my guest for this morning. Good morning, Regina.
Good morning. Good morning, Jessica. Good morning, everyone.
Yes, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Doing great. How about yourself?
I'm phenomenal. I'm ready to go, ready to chat with you and find new figure out some new stuff about you.
Yeah, excited to be here.
Yeah. So those of you who don't know, this is Regina Edmondson. She owns CME Catering, as she is the founder of it. And we just jump right in, Regina. So, I mean, just tell us about yourself. Give us some background about your history.
Okay. I am a Colorado native. There are a few of us left out here, right?
Yeah.
My entrepreneurial journey started really in high school. You know, you're always kind of selling things and trying to figure out a way to get allowance. We weren't allowed to work growing up. My parents really wanted us to focus on school and education. So when all your friends have jobs and you don't have jobs, you definitely kind of figure out how to hustle a little bit, right?
Yeah.
I started as a flight attendant, early 20s, really young, and started flying international immediately. I flew for a couple of months and had the opportunity to do a temporary duty in Japan and did that for a year. And then I was in New York for a long time. From New York, I moved to China. I lived in China for 8 years. And I share this part about being an international flight attendant because it speaks to, as an entrepreneur, where my focus is around detail and presentation. And when you look at catering and events and event planning, there is nothing like doing a 7-course meal service in an aisle on an airplane and providing food every minute of a 14-hour flight, right? Mm-hmm. That definitely puts you in that space of what does service really look like and that attention to detail. To this day, I still know like 20 different napkin folds that I can do, right? That's my party trick, right? Is here's all the napkin folds that I can do. Late into my career flying, we hit clear air turbulence. I flew up and I hit the top of the cabin, came down, carts on me, and I was halfway between China and San Francisco. And at that time, I ended up going to emergency, being in San Francisco, being in the hospital. At the time, I was living in China, and I was paralyzed from the waist down. And this was my third trip after coming back from maternity leave. So I started rehabbing. It took me a while to rehab. You know, first you're kind of wheelchair and then walker and then cane and then finally able to walk again. And at this time I had a 2-year-old. So I had some reservations about going back to work after recovering, right? And I had a young son that it kind of changed my perspective around things where I was flying and just traveling everywhere, enjoying life, seeing everything that I could see. Wanted the opportunity to expose my son to that because growing up, we were exposed to a lot of travel and just so many different experiences, right? And I wasn't able to do that. I wasn't comfortable at that time going back to flying. I shared my story and was working with a insurance agent. Unfortunately, at that time, I did have insurance, and so that helped me a lot. And I went into insurance, and one of the managing partners told me that I have a nonprofit spirit because I always wanted to educate community around services and product instead of just selling. It was all about education for me. So I moved into the nonprofit sector. And in the nonprofit sector, I realized there are so few resources for nonprofit. There are so few vendors of color that service nonprofit. And that is where CME started. So I opened catering business, started doing catering specifically focused on nonprofits because we want to highlight and show off nonprofits and be in the big leagues like every other corporation, but a lot of times you don't have the same resources, right? And so it allowed me to provide these really large scale, fantastic events at that's budget friendly, that's affordable for nonprofits. From there, and I've worked in nonprofits. So for the last 15 years, I've been in the nonprofit sector, currently work for a Second Chance Center, and I've also been catering to the nonprofit sector. When COVID hit in March, and I do a lot by contract. So I'll do your kickoff event, your large gala, your fundraising, your scholarship luncheon, all of those things I'm booked out for the year so I can manage my calendar. March 20th, I got text, email, phone call, 27 events canceled within 10 days. And I'm looking, what am I going to do? This wasn't the business plan. This wasn't the model. And on the back burner, I had been looking at this idea of doing meal delivery, but I hadn't moved it forward yet because I was just swamped with regular catering and event catering. So I did a pivot to heat and eat meals. So we started doing prepared meals that are delivered. You have the option of once a week or twice a week that are delivered directly to your home. You pop it in the oven. You get a wonderful meal that's going to take you 12 to 18 minutes to heat up. And you don't have all the artificial stuff and all the, I'm going to package this so it stays fresh forever stuff, but you get fresh homemade meals. And the benefit of that also is that you get to try so many varieties of food, right? And so in that time where I traveled and spent all of that time, I was able to learn how to make so many different things authentically and would always visit everywhere I went. I would always visit locally with friends that lived there or people that I was flying with, and they would bring me into their home and they or their parent or their family would show me how to prepare all of these things. And, it reminded me of as a child growing up, I was the kid that was hanging on my grandmother's apron, wanting to see everything, touch everything, taste everything, smell anything. I want to help, right? Like I was always that person that food is a part of life. Food is a part of sharing your culture. It's an experience. It's how we bond with other people. It's how we bond as a family. For us growing up, it's Sunday dinner every Sunday after church, 2:00, and it's an event. And so I just really have a passion around food and bringing people together. And CME has given me that opportunity to do that.
Yeah, I love it. And you had me at like all of the food having just nothing in it, like just being clean, healthy food. I love that part because that's really important. I mean, I like that fresh food. So you had me right there.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And then it gives you the opportunity too, where you can try different things where you're not having to, like you have one recipe and there's 17 different ingredients, right? How often are you going to do that for party of one or party of two, or even spend your day kind of doing all of these different things, or experiment, or I'm going to buy this one particular spice. It's kind of this one thread like saffron. It's $20 and I'm going to make one dish one time. Right. Mm-hmm. So it gives you that opportunity to just really try different things with only having to just pop it in the oven and not work to create it, not shop, not run all over and try and find like, where do I find this one ingredient?
Yeah, I love it. I have to say good morning to some of the folks joining us. I think it's Jaquin. If I'm not saying that right, I apologize, Jaquin. Put in the comments how to say it if I'm not saying it correctly. She says that's fantastic. She's just impressed. She says, wow, a native, that's awesome.
Proud native.
We've got Omar Montgomery joining us. Good morning, Omar. He says, are there vegan or vegetarian options as part of the meals?
So, yeah, absolutely. So both vegan and vegetarian, the menus are offered in a way where you have a choice of beef, you have a choice of poultry, turkey, you have a choice of fish, you have a choice of vegetarian or vegan. You select what meals you want. So you can select 3 different meals and it can fall under that same category or different categories. And again, you can get delivery once a week or twice a week. So you really have the option where you don't have to cook at all that week, right? You can still show up on Sunday for the family Sunday dinner, but during the week it's plug and play and you don't have to eat the same thing as everyone in your house. You can pick what you want, they pick what they want. So it's just really flexible, And also with COVID and just how you change your business, a lot of nonprofits move to online fundraisers and online events. And so even in that model, did a pivot there where I packaged anywhere from, here's this beautifully packaged charcuterie board that comes in this wonderful box with the ribbon on it that goes out to all of your participants or all of your board members for your virtual online board meeting. So they still get that experience of everyone's opening their box together online as they're participating in their meeting. So anywhere from that one piece to offering, here's your 5 courses. So everyone's having their salad together while your meal is in the oven, and then you have your appetizers together, and then your meal's ready. You have your meal together on your virtual event, and then of course you got to have dessert, right? Mm-hmm. And then you have your dessert together on the virtual event. So even changing what does the virtual event and coming together, and again bonding over food, you're able to bring that together in that way also.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but I've had your food at a virtual event, the ULFC, when it was virtual this first time around COVID at Amanda's party. So I had
great.
Yeah, it was amazing. Loved it. I can testify to it. Everything was fantastic. The presentation, seriously. So I don't
thank you. No, I didn't know that. That's wonderful.
Yeah, so I recently, that wasn't too long ago, so I can see that everything that Regina is talking about, it is all true.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Yeah, I didn't know that. And so you get that full element again with your presentation, and everyone still gets their choices and dietary concerns. All of those things are taken, into consideration. And again, I just believe that just food is that language, it's that communication, it brings people together. Mm-hmm. Like anytime you're talking about what did you do, there's food involved, right? Mm-hmm. And if there wasn't food involved, I don't think Instagram would even be around with all the shots of food I've seen, that you see on Instagram. That speaks to just how we relate to food, and food is really a form of communication to me.
I agree with you. I just have to put in there, to your point, when I put food, I was just telling a friend this the other day. When I put food on my story, I used to think it was ridiculous and like the eye roll, nobody wants to see your food. I get, Regina, the most comments and DMs about the food. Don't nobody care about nothing else but whatever.
Yes. Yes, everybody wants to see the food. What are you eating, right?
So they really do care, even though people say it's obnoxious. People want to see food and they enjoy it.
No. They want, what are you reading? What are you eating? That's what I want to know.
Yes, yes. And we have Manushka. Good morning, Manushka. She's one of our regulars. I love her. She says you made a sweet potato ginger tea for the WMCO annual luncheon last year. Oh my God, so good.
Manusha, she was so set. Like, we had kind of agreed on this menu and we did a tasting, and she tasted that and she's like, oh my gosh, I think we should maybe have this and kind of tweak the menu a little bit. It was a great tasting event, and yeah, absolutely loved working with the Women's Foundation.
Yeah,
And with Manushka, love working with her.
I'll have to check. Do you have a name for that sweet potato thing that you made?
It's a roasted vegetable quinoa bowl.
Okay. Quinoa.
Yeah, so it's roasted beets, roasted sweet potatoes, roasted butternut squash over quinoa, and then a few secrets in that sauce that makes it just even more amazing.
That sounds so delicious. It really does. That's right up my alley. So you've talked a lot about pivoting, which I love because you seem to be very good at pivoting. In this pivot, have you found, it sounds like your business has increased. Has business multiplied because of it?
My business has increased on both sides. Mm-hmm. So the pivot in moving to the virtual event space increased the catering business, where again, like 27 events canceled in 2 weeks. That's the whole year for me. So recaptured that, an additional business, and then to add the component of the delivery and the Chef Meal Express service. So my business has increased significantly over previous years.
That's amazing. Congratulations. Have to shout you out on that. That must feel so good. Go ahead.
It really does. I wanted to say that, when I was saying that the Chef Meal Express was on the back burner, and I was so focused on catering, I say that to say, like, don't be scared. If you have something that I want to move this forward and you're waiting for the right time, go for it. Because that's something that I was very comfortable in the space with catering, and I was very comfortable in the event space, and it just was there, and I wanted to do it. It just kind of sat there and was back burner, and the second I moved it forward, it just exploded, which let me know I should have done that probably a year ago, right?
Yeah.
In moving that forward. So don't get comfortable, and don't let, COVID was a good opportunity for everyone to change and pivot. You had to, but do that every day. Look at it, continue to reassess what is your business, what is your model, what is the vision, how are you moving and how are you growing, and go for it.
I love that advice. I second that. Absolutely. You want to be prepared, but as you said, I think we're scared, right? It's scary to take that jump off that cliff. So
absolutely.
Sometimes you gotta get prepared to take that jump. So we have another question. Omar says, do you cater big events and assist with event planning?
I do. So I could do up to 800 people. I don't think we're quite there yet, but definitely with event planning, there's all of the small details. And at the end of the day, so often you want your event to be successful, but you also want to be able to enjoy your event. Right? So if the event planning is done and I've drilled down on all of the details and everything is in place, then not only is your guest and your attendees able to enjoy your event, you're able to enjoy your event. How many people do you talk to that they're the point person for their organization? They didn't get to eat. They couldn't tell you what the food tasted like. Don't know what the table setting was because they never got to sit down. They never got to eat. They're just running around crazy, right? Trying to get everything done. So when you have help in that area to make sure that you have everything done, it makes a huge difference. And you can focus on exactly what you need to focus on, which is your guest and your audience and your attendees. Right.
I completely agree. I don't know if you know my background, but my business, Jameer, started in events. I still do them. So everything you're speaking is facts and truth. I can't tell you how many events that I've done, and people are like, how was the food? How was the drinks? I don't know anything. I couldn't tell you what happened, what people ate, because I was working nonstop.
Exactly. Or who was even there, right? Or did you get to that table? Like, no, you don't even have time to participate in your own event.
Yeah.
I have to give a shout out to Omar Montgomery. When you talk about, when you're new in your business and the support that's around you, Omar, who is my life partner, love of my life, is a tremendous support in my business. And when you have somebody that supports everything you do, it makes a difference. When you have somebody that in those early stages is loading up the van with all of your decorations and all of your things, and in the back washing, chafing dishes and just all of those things, that is just like dig in and is number one supporter, fan. Of course, and he gets lots of food, but that makes a difference. That definitely makes a difference when you have friends and family that truly support you and support your vision and your business and challenge you. He'll ask me all the time, well, why are you doing it this way and not that way? Well, what's this? And we'll ask so many questions that it challenges you and makes you rise to a higher level.
Yeah,
I have to thank them.
It is key to have that support. And you see, he's on here asking questions.
Oh, yeah.
I love how he's getting those plugs in. I love it. I'm all about it.
Yeah.
Tell us, so you've shared your background and shared how you pivot. Tell us, and you've kind of talked about this as we've been talking, but what makes you stand out, you think, amongst all of the other businesses?
I think it's a couple of things. I think it's that international experience. When you live overseas for so long, because again, I've lived in 13 different countries, and when you have like that authentic handheld lesson in how to make certain things, right? And just that experience of trying so many different foods authentically from all over the world, and your palate, like I have an incredible palate, and that makes a big difference and the presentation piece, again, like international airline service at that time, top notch. Like that was again like 7-course meal in the aisle with white gloves and linen service, and you're safting everything, and that presentation, I bring that with me. And those are the things that you're not going to just kind of pick up on your own or learn anywhere. But I think just in having that experience and being in so many environments, again, internationally and at 5-star hotels and their food service and all of that, and having that experience is what I bring with me.
That makes sense. I've never served on a plane. I have done catering, but not on a plane. I can say, I feel like if you can do that on a plane, you could do it anywhere and do it very well. I mean,
oh yeah.
Yeah. And I have to plug, when I was at the event that I was at, the virtual event, every year, I mean, not only was the food delicious, your presentation was beautiful. It was everything. When you walk up to the food and it looks beautiful, it makes you want to eat and try everything.
Absolutely. And I have a great staff too. I have to give a shout out to my team. And I think having consistency in my team also makes a difference, because we're all learning and growing and improving together. So these are folks that have been around for a long time, and that, again, support me, support my business, support minority-owned business, support my vision. And so when you have people around you that fully buy into your vision, you have success.
Yeah. Speaking of the team, so let's talk about that. How many people do you have on your team, and tell us about what each person does?
Yeah. So Evan is our delivery driver. So he manages all of the delivery routes, sets up kind of the timing, the day, the schedule, gets everything mapped out. I have a catering manager who manages all of the back end detail piece for me. Work with somebody else, and we're creating our menu piece. And then I have food prep staff that, again, they're in there making sure that everything is ready and packaged. And then I have one of the most important team members, again, Omar, that moral support that keep going that he offers.
Yeah, I love it.
I do want to say this though. I want to give a special shout out to Howard Chu. He supports minority owned businesses. And he is one that constantly reaches out to minority owned business. What can I do? How can I support? And that's on an annual basis. So it's not only Black History Month when, your phone rings off the hook and you never hear from folks again like the rest of the year. This is like, we have to support each other in business. We have to support, don't wait till Women's History Month to support women-owned business. Don't wait till Black History Month to support minority-owned business. We have to encourage that support throughout the year, and we have to show that example throughout the year that we support other minority-owned businesses. There are times when I want to add something different for a dessert, and I'll reach out to a minority-owned business that does desserts, and can you do this, right? Or if we're doing something that is more kind of vendor style, here's an opportunity to highlight this other minority-owned business. Or if it's something that I don't do, the first thing I'm going to do is reach out. How can I support another small business, another woman-owned business, another minority-owned business? But how can we continue to support the growth of small businesses in our community?
Excellent point. Thank you so much, Regina, for bringing that up, because that is key. It's not just a one and done. We want to keep that cycle going, keep that circle going of support, and just knowing people are out there, it makes it half the difference.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Good morning, Daryl. Thanks for joining us. I haven't seen Daryl in years. I don't know if he remembers me. I worked with him at Black Arts Festival. Hi, Daryl. This is a wonderful interview. He says, thank you. I'm glad you're joining us this morning. It's funny because Omar says, thanks, Manushka. Need to order my chubby girls. Manushka, stop crashing our interview. So we were just talking. This is a great example of supporting small business. It all comes full circle. Gosh, Regina, this has been fantastic, and we are almost out of time, sadly. So before we go, I do want to make sure that we have all of your information. We will put it in the comments. How do folks sign up for deliveries and events and your meal stuff?
Yeah, if you go to CMEcateringservices.com, then you can sign up for the email list, and then you'll get the menu every week, and then you can order from the menu. And then for more information, you can go to Facebook, which is CME Catering Services, and Instagram is CME_catering and events.
Perfect. We'll get those in the comments line so that everyone has access to that. And if they view this afterwards, they know where to get to you, definitely. Let's see. Is there anything else that you would like to share that we didn't talk about today?
Wow. As we start coming back together, right? Like a lot of us have been vaccinated now. I just got my second vaccine on Saturday. Just keep myself in mind, and keep other small businesses in mind as we start to do that outreach and start coming back together, bringing food back together and people back together. Just remember to support your small businesses, your local businesses, your women-owned business, your minority-owned business.
Absolutely. I agree. Can't stress that enough. That's what this is all about. So if you didn't know about CME, now you know. And now you know who to go to. for catering and events. I'm looking forward to doing some stuff in person. So I can't wait for us to see each other in person and get back to doing some events. I do miss that piece of that interaction.
Definitely. And Jessica, thank you again, and thank you for what you're doing and the space that you're in and what you're bringing. Again, truly a community service.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm glad to do it. Glad to do it. This is who I am, so I'm glad to do it. Thank you again, Regina. I would love for you to come back and share with us updates, because I know your business is always growing and evolving, and you pivot like nobody else.
Thank you.
So I definitely want you to come back and share with us in a few months how everything's going and any updates and things that are new.
I would love to. I have some new things on the back burner, so I would love to.
Good. Well, until next time, all of you out there, thank you for joining us today, everyone. We appreciate your support, your comments, your questions. If there's any more questions afterwards, we'll come back and answer them. So please feel free to still keep those comments or questions in the comments going. And just stay inspired and stay healthy and safe. Until next time, this is Takeover Tuesdays. I'm Jessica Springs. See you later.